Alright, so I've been playing cluster grenade merc slash explosive grenade, I guess, and quality stacking with cast on dodge. Now, cast on dodge doesn't really cast anything important necessarily, but the quality increases your dodge by a shit ton, which you can see. And I've basically been using it to just dash through maps and farm bosses like Citadel bosses and the Matriarch halls. So yeah, I think that's the ideal use of this build. It can clear like everything fine, like its clear is pretty good. Like you get entire screen coverage here with explosive nades. And then if your explosive nades are down, your flashbang is good enough to clear too. So overall, very good build. The main downside is the defense is not amazing. I could make it better, but I've gotten in a pretty decent spot where I very rarely die. Basically my deaths right now are basically only preventable if I go energy shield. But I'm just leaving this as life. Not often I play a life-based character in this, so yeah. Just how fast you can go through a map there. You know, you go very fast here. I'll show you some single target damage. Boop. Yeah. Pretty good. Hey, I win. So, to get into the character, first I'll start off with going through the qualities. Some of the main reason you play this build is for the alt qualities here. And then pretty much everything we're using here gets very, very good alt qualities. So cast on dodge. You can see your meters to dodge roll radians. I have like flame wall in it. It's basically useless. I think the best option here is to use refutation in there, and that will give you the 100% block chance. The problem is the stun. I've been too lazy to fix the stun, but if you click like 2 stun nodes like right here or something, it's probably fine. So ideally that's what I do. I just don't really care. I'm chilling with flame wall. And then explosive grenade gets extra projectiles. You can get this up to 4. Every 10 quality is another projectile. So with that, I don't have to use multi-shot with it, which is very nice. And it can also use Nova projectiles for better clear. So you can get basically screen-wide clear with that. It's pretty sick, as opposed to if you don't use it, it's like this. Early on, you can't really use Nova when your damage is too low. But once your damage does get up there, it is very nice for clearing. And then they also have 40% chance to activate a second time here. Pretty nice. Then Verana's Siege here gives AoE and then isolated targets, so if the enemy's alone, aka map bosses, it gives you some extra damage. Less detonation time, so it doesn't feel clunky to clear. And then Defy here. Defy is pretty important too. So this build is very little mana, but Defy lets us still use it. Okay, well not right now, but it's when you're surrounded, and whenever you're near an enemy, you'll be surrounded thanks to this helmet. So I can't really show it in the hideout, but in maps, mana is not a problem. Then Flash Grenade gets some extra damage as lightning. This is kind of your secondary clear. You can use it as primary. I kind of use explosive and flash interchangeably while clearing. And then Flash Grenade is also to break armor here on bosses. Cluster Grenade is the main single target. So the way Cluster Grenade works is it fires a primary grenade and then it splits into 18 projectiles. So we have, let me put this back. Here I got 4 projectiles, and those all split into 18 grenades each. And then the main mechanic here is, thanks to the reduced detonation time, it detonates instantly, which you'll see right there. If it activates an additional time, it does like bounce, but you know. Generally all shotgunning in the same spot. So that's 72 hits in one spot, and they have 385 attack damage per at level 24. So that's the big mechanic here for bossing, is that. And you'll see if I take like a long fuse here, you can see if you don't have enough detonation time, then it moves, and then, you know, basically no overlaps. But with the duration being so low, you get good overlaps. Well, more than good, you get everything overlapping. And there you go. Now, I also have a bunch of auras on. Eternal Rage is for rage. Rage is pretty good. You get 1% more attack damage per rage, and I have 45 total rage, and it's just permanent uptime. Alt quality here is Spirit Reservation Efficiency, which is very good considering not using a scepter or anything on this build. Not using an amulet with spirit on it, so you're kind of squeezed for spirit here. And then Herald of Thunder is lightning damage. I'm doing mainly fire and lightning. Decent amount of fizz too, because Claws Grenade only converts 40% of fizz to fire, if you see here. So it is still a decent amount of fizz, which is why we break armor with Flash Grenade. And then there's that. So you can see the split there. Decent lightning, fire, and fizz. Arctic armor here is pretty nice actually too. So you can see I have 15k armor here. If I turn it off, I'm down to 9k. It's really good. It gives 36 armor per stage. And then you can get it up to 6 stages with quality. 40% should get you to the 6th stage. Or the, yeah. So, ton of armor there. Wind down to the quality is basically useless, but it's nice for your evasion. And then Herald of Ash is pretty nice. It gives increased fire damage. I'm blocking it, but just pretend you can see it. It's increased fire damage. So, that's that. And I guess, how do you get the spirit? So, this is pretty expensive. There's alternative ways to do this. You could use like Venter's Gambles. That'd probably be a lot cheaper, but you lose a lot of damage on your rings, because that has a bunch of the attack damage there. But basically, my spirit comes from Warrior Invictus with 14 spirit per socket filled. So that is 70 spirit from all 5 sockets filled. Then also I'm using Carved Majesty, which gives +3 spirit per idol socketed in your equipment. And then I believe that's all your equipment. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is another 24 spirit. And then Fox Idol gives each item in the chest pieces are bonded modifiers. You can see the huge list here. And then the bonded modifier of this also gives 5% increased spirit. I think ideally for spirit, you want to go... I think you would like, for your amulet, for spirit, I think at the high end, you don't use sure-footed sigil. Sure, you lose a little bit of speed, but I think what you do is you get an amulet with a aura on it, like Eternal Rage, and then you get the aura for free, I believe. And then you can get spirit on as well, and you can get plus projectiles. That would be the ideal thing. You do lose speed, but if you get quality on it, you can get a quality suffix with desecration. You get 5% quality. So that give you more damage, and it would also give you a bit more speed on your buff. It'd like give you 0.2 extra meters, so you lose 0.8 meters. So there is that. You can also additionally try and corrupt this. It can corrupt to 1.2 additional dodge roll here. I'm too lazy to do that, but if you really wanted to lean into it, you could. And then there's also some dodge roll on the tree. But yeah. And then spirit, we have 12 to spirit with Against the Darkness. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 60 spirit from that. If you need an extra 12, you could pick this up. And then that is all the spirit, basically. Oh, there is one last one. The helmet gives 22 spirit. And then I have 290. I actually only need 282. So there's that. And then I'll go over all the dodge roll distance. So one is cast on dodge. This is how you actually get all the speed. Cast on dodge. And then you have the surrounded from the helmet, right? And then the surrounded gives 0.6 meters the dodge roll distance. Have the amulet for +1. And then finally, the boots are kind of massive. You get a rune in it for 0.3 meters. And then it gives movement speed. Movement speed does scale your dodge roll. And then 30% faster dodge roll. You can also corrupt this for more movement speed and dodge roll. Mage Blood for movement speed also does give you speed. You don't need it though. So this is what it looks like with it. If I take it off, you can see it. Still pretty good. Not that big of an upgrade. Definitely noticeable, but not needed. So I'll go over all the idols now. The Panther idol is armor and chaos, and the bondage is chaos. Actually, you can just read it here. I'm not going to go over them all. It's not worth anybody's time. You can just read it here, actually. Very basic stuff. And then on the weapon, I went for Fizz and Lightning. You could also opt for pure elemental. Just crossbow would be fine. But either way, I'd just get what's cheaper. And then you're going to want to get +3 level to all attack skills and onslaught on it. And then grenades have 25% chance to activate an additional time. So this is pretty important mod. It's basically 25% more damage. And then siege crossbow carries an extra projectile. I think a siege crossbow is generally better than a Charthan cannon outside of like super high budgets. I don't have one. I've sold them all. But the cannon, I don't think it's worth. Just because you get an extra proj here, it's very nice. But at a super high budget, you can get 2 proj on a cannon. If you get all other really good modifiers, then it would be worth it. But that is out of my budget and probably out of yours. Then onslaught on kill is nice. Ring is just damage to attacks and res, same thing here. Some life and strength. You do want to try and get life where you can get it. It's pretty important to have life. And then I have this, already went over that. And the gloves, I just have some res and stuff to attacks. The leech there doesn't really do much, honestly. I think ideally in this glove spot, you get a evasion base and then use a deflection mod to get some deflection, because I don't have much deflection. 22 would be a little bit higher in maps. But yeah, I'm taking these for defense for some deflection and some armor applying the elemental damage. I'm not super happy with these nodes. I might switch them out here in the coming days. But yeah. I think that's just about everything. For the rite of passage here, I have Spirit of the Boar, which gives them fire damage and reduced damage taken. I think what might be in play is to use Refutation here, as you can go Spirit of the Bear, I believe. There's one that gives you a bunch of stun threshold, and then you probably won't get stunned. These two I'm just using because I don't have much. I'm not Chaos Res Cap, so yeah. So pretty expensive setup here. And honestly, you're probably just better going Jung's Auto Bomber. Just a better build. Probably, I would guess it's a little more finicky to set up and a little bit more expensive, but at this point it's probably worth. And then, yeah. I guess the benefit of this is you can level as grenades all the way through, and if you like grenades, you can just keep playing it. So, I mean, you can technically start this, as grenades is one of the best starters in the game. Yeah, can't really go too wrong here. And then you can slowly start to add in like the cast on dodge stuff. Even just like the cast on dodge gem, the boots, and then sure-footed sigil would be very cheap. You don't have to get any of the really fancy stuff until you're min-maxing. And then you still go pretty fast with your dodge. And yeah, that's about it. I guess last note, do you have a time loss here? Mine's pretty bad, actually. That's pretty bad. Yep. And then Heart of the Well. You want to get one that has a big lightning damage. It could be cold too. Ideally lightning or cold to apply that ailment. And then big cooldown recovery. You can get a double Gainer's Extra here because of cooldown recovery, but it's pretty nice. I think that's better than getting double extra damage, but it's kind of up to you. And that's it.